episode of Laid Back Searchers. What this episode of Searchers is a little while ago, actually a few days ago, the Searchers crew joined up with the Washington County Historical Society to be part of a Facebook live series that the Historical Society does called Laid Back History. Laid Back History goes and tells the story of the southwestern Pennsylvania region, just small little snippets, maybe pieces of history you haven't heard before, in a very laid back manner. It's just a very relaxed manner. So what happened was we decided to kind of team up and do an episode of Laid Back History that was a live dig by the Searchers crew. So the guys went out and detected a little bit ahead of time, about an hour ahead of time, had some holes that they just left. As soon as they got close to finding it, they left the stuff in the hole. And then as we were doing the Laid Back History show, when it got time, we went and actually did a live, on-air live of what the guys were finding, what Brian and Rich were finding. It went over really well. There was a huge number of views on it. People really liked it and actually asked us to do it again. So we probably will be doing it, but we decided to take what we did for Laid Back History and go ahead and post it as part of our Searchers YouTube as well. And so that's what this episode is. So you're going to see some new things that we found at the LeMoyne Crematory. So it's going to be our third time up there. Then you're also going to see some clips from the first and second time we were there that we aired as part of Laid Back History in case people didn't see that. So there were some really nice finds. And we wanted to make sure that you guys, our Searchers, subscribers and fans of the show got to see it as well. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Laid Back Searchers.
Okay, so I want to welcome you back to another episode of Laid Back History. Now this one is going to be a little bit different. So I know we talked about that we are going to do the episode on historical markers of Washington County, and I'm actually tying in Greene County a little bit in those, but I need some more time to get that episode ready. I wanted to get to some more of the markers, and I just haven't been able to travel around as much as I wanted. So we're going to put that off till next week. So what I decided to do this week is, I was looking outside today and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. God, it's a beautiful day today, and I thought, how cool would it be to get outside and the guys from Searchers, Brian and Rich. Rich is over here. You can see he's doing his reverse dad pose. That's how he likes to pose when we're filming. I'm not real sure why. And then back over here we have Brian. Say hi, Brian. So Brian. So Brian's actually looking at the camera. So those guys are actually doing a dig, and I thought, well, how cool. Why don't I bring the camera up here and let you see live them doing detecting around the LeMoyne Crematory. So we're going to show some of the stuff that they found. They've been up here for a little while, so they've got a few holes that are already dug that they just kind of left the stuff in the ground. And when I get done telling some history, we're going to go around and see what they found. I'm also going to, I have a few videos, a few snippets from the first time Searchers came up here and did their metal detecting at the crematory. And I know we talked about some of this. We talked about the Civil War artifacts that they found and how we found this to be a Civil War site as long as being a crematory site. But I just thought, it'd be kind of neat for you guys to see live what Searchers does. So I've got some snippets that I'll play for you as we kind of go on. I'll do a couple of those. Maybe if there's a lull in what they're finding, we'll play a couple of those. But real quick, the history of the crematory. So the LeMoyne Crematory was built in 1876 by Francis Julius LeMoyne. Now, Francis LeMoyne, we've talked about him. He's an abolitionist. He's a doctor. He's into basically civil rights. He's into education. He's involved in agriculture. I mean, he's involved in a lot of different things. And one of the things that he starts to do later on in his life in the 1850s and 60s is he gets into the study of the spread of disease. And really what he gets into is burial practices and how the burial practices of the day are leading to the spread of disease. Because if you think about it, somebody dies, they're put into a pine coffin, rickety pine box basically. They're put in the ground, it's covered over, rainwater, groundwater washes through that, and you end up having that water then washing down into the water supply. We drink that water, it gets sick of the same thing that that person died of. And so what Francis was looking at was how could he clean up burial practices, make it a cleaner process, and maybe help stop the spread of disease in some manner. And what he gets into is cremation. And so he builds this crematory in 1876. For Francis, if you burn the body, you're basically killing the disease, and you're not going to have that spread down into our water supply. Now, cremation at the time in the 1850s, 60s, it's not new. It's not like he's coming up with something new, but it's not something that's widely practiced. You have a few cultures that do it, but they're not in permanent buildings like this one. They're just, they're building wood pyres, and the body's being laid on it and being burnt. There were 2 of them that were done in the United States prior to this, prior to the LeMoyne Crematory being built. It was down in South Carolina, 2 Rev War soldiers that were cremated. But Francis builds this building in 1876, and it is the first permanent crematory in the United States. But not even just that, the first permanent crematory in the Western Hemisphere, and only the 3rd in the entire world. So think about that. Little Washington, PA, we have only the 3rd crematory in the entire world, the first one in the country. So it's kind of a big deal. And so the first person cremated was a gentleman by the name of Baron de Palm. He was a Bavarian prince who had died in New York actually in 1876, prior to this building even being started, the construction being started. So they embalmed the Baron, they kept him preserved, and eventually brought him down when the building was finished in the late fall, early winter of 1876. And in December, early December, he was cremated. The second person was a lady by the name of Jane Pittman, an art teacher from Cincinnati, Ohio. And the third person was Francis LeMoyne. And Francis is buried, if you look at the headstone right over here, that is actually where Francis is buried. His ashes are in an urn underneath of that. The crematory was used up until about 1900. There were 42 cremations altogether that were done in the LeMoyne Crematory before it was shut down because of disrepair. Basically, they didn't want to charge. Francis wanted it to be free so that more people would maybe be cremated and help the idea spread. But because of that, there was really no money to take care of it after he passed away. So eventually the furnace, the big furnace starts to crack. In fact, I've got a neat video, and I want to play that now, that we did, Brian and a couple other friends of ours did years ago, where we actually showed what it would have been like carrying the body from the wooden beer or table, or the wooden table in the metal beer over to the furnace and putting it in. So while I'm talking, I'm going to go ahead and play that because it's kind of a neat video. Okay, that's playing. So, but the crematory, it goes into disrepair eventually, and it is shut down. The LeMoyne, the Historical Society, the Washington County Historical Society, takes over ownership of it. They do some repair and restoration work to it, and it opens up as a museum. And actually, currently, right now, we are doing another restoration to it. You can see we have a couple of the trees that we cut down that were, unfortunately, they died. They were hanging over the roof, so we cut down a few of those. I just realized that videos might still be playing, so hopefully you're back and you can see the trees that are cut down. So we're going to be putting a new roof on it and doing some repair work to the outside of it. We actually have one of our board members, Tim Moore. He's been volunteering his time to help maintain the site, and he's been doing a ton of great work on it. So, but that's kind of a brief history of the LeMoyne Crematory. I could see the guys are doing some detecting. So let me ask them, guys. Yeah. Do you want me to? How about if I play? I'll play one of the clips from our Searchers episode, and then we'll come back and we'll do a little bit, see what we got. Okay, so I'm going to play a clip. I'm going to get that going. And then when we get back, we'll see what they happen to find so far. So, excuse me while I get this going. So here's a quick clip of one of the finds that we got here last time at the crematory when the Searchers crew was here.
Oh, not a nail. if I had to guess, obviously a buckle, that would be from a pair of late 18th century knee breeches, or early 19th century knee breeches. They had essentially shorts, what my parents always referred to as pedal pushers, that came just below your knee. And there was a strap right there that kept it below your knee, and that would have been the buckle used to tighten the strap to keep it from riding up. So, very cool, and most likely predates the crematory again. Very nice find, very nice.
Turtle, right there, now you're good.
Okay, so that was one of the finds that we had up here from the earlier episode when we shot the first episode of Searchers. And that was our premier episode. The first one we ever did was up here at the LeMoyne Crematory. Now, we're going to kind of go live again. So Brian has 2 holes that he dug. He 3 of them?
Yeah, we got 3 holes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do 2 right now.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do 2 holes right now. We'll see what we've got. And then maybe show another clip. There's another clip from the previous episode we're gonna look at. So I'm gonna turn you around and okay. So say hi, Brian.
Hi, everyone. Searchers right here. Hey, yeah, we're doing this a little different than we typically do. You know, we're gonna walk to each of the holes that we found here. We're kind of digging them up and wait until we get a bunch of them to just kind of go around. But just so that you know, how we do this is, you know, we've been up here so many times before with different machines. But here's the thing, even walking it a little bit different, running it in a different mode, especially with this one here, it'll actually tone in, it'll tune in on different targets, making them different types of metals and stuff. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working in a mode I typically don't work in. And I found some interesting things. So the first one is, let me see here. I think it's right down in here. Ah, yeah, there it is. So this is pretty cool. I mean, it looks like some kind of a scutcheon plate. Let me just rub it a little bit here and see. Yeah, I would say it's probably for a piece of furniture, especially with the two points there, either for nails or it could have been for a screw or something like that. But it's interesting that we're finding that up here, right outside the crematory. Now, yeah, we have that resonance that's over there, but I mean, this looks old enough to be something Victorian. So that's kind of neat.
What's the material?
I would say it's either copper or brass, you know, just by looking at it. A lot of times, you know, it could be either copper or brass, and they could be plated,
Okay.
you know, but it doesn't look like it has any plating on it. So we'll leave that one here, and we'll come back and map that. Let's go to the second one I got over here by the tree. Now this one's pretty cool because when we were up here before, a lot of this was covered in brush, so we couldn't get back in here. And this one, you can see it, it's in the plug. I just left it like I saw it. Check it out. It's a little kid's toy car, like a 20s, you know, kind of racer, one of those torpedo racers. You might know what it's more called, Clay. But I don't know, you know, that style of car, but you know, it kind of has that, you know, pointed back end, something like a hot rod. I would imagine that probably is associated with the house over there. But this one's in pretty much decent order. I bet you if we cleaned that up, you could probably get the wheels to run again on it. But that's a cool little find. I love that kind of stuff. And the cool thing is that the kid probably left it out here. And it actually feels like it's, my God, I don't know. Could it be lead? Because it's awful heavy. It's either that or some kind of, I don't know if it's a pot metal. It seems a little too heavy to be that.
And anything we find kind of tells a story of a site. You know, it's not just, oh, can we find something tied to the crematory? Because there were things happening here before the crematory. Yep. There were things happening here after.
Exactly,
so
especially like the house.
Right.
You know, you could see kids over here playing around. And remember, there was all those brush here. But there's this large tree. You know, this tree could have been here. Maybe the kid was playing underneath it, you know, running his cars around. He could have had multiples of them. I'd imagine he was probably a little upset when he lost this one, because I think this is a pretty cool looking one. Have to clean that up. We'll map it. You know, and just what this, you know, what does it tell you? Yeah, we know that there was a kid here at some point living. What, you know, big deal? Well, I think it's a big deal. I just think it's kind of neat, you know, finding things like this, kind of saving them, and it'll be a nice little display piece for the museum.
And so what are we going to, we're going to go try to find, or we're going to go cut to a clip from the first episode
Yeah.
of Searchers again.
Yep.
And this is Rich finding an older coin.
Yeah, a real old coin.
Okay, so hang on, let me do that. We'll let Brian go back and detect. I will get this playing here real quick. I don't know why you need to see my face as I do this, but let me get it playing. And we'll be back here in just a minute. I know Rich has found a couple things, so we'll see what we've got.
Well, what do you got outside the hole?
Look at what's inside the hole first.
Oh, that is a big coin.
Look at that, baby.
Holy cow.
Look at that. You got your loop?
You know what I do? I have it here. You know what? Oh, you know what? It's just about in line where I found that large coin that I found, that 1835. I mean, there might be something up with this. Maybe this is the old road right through here.
Well, I can't tell what it is. See if you can. My first thought was I had a large cent.
You know, it was really slick, but it looked like I could see maybe an E and a D, and I thought it might have said United.
It was hard to read. It was very hard to
It
read.
was very hard to read.
That is a 1799 French decime,
No way.
which decime, I believe, means dime in French.
Right.
So,
Okay. So that was a really cool find. I mean, that was awesome to find that 1799 coin. And actually, Rich has a find here we're going to look at. But before we do that, I just want to ask him what it was like finding that that decime.
what can I say? I mean, honestly, was the oldest coin I got so far. Unlike somebody's 1835.
Actually, there's one older.
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. And I mean, a French coin in little old Washington. I mean,
But kind of a neat tie to the LeMoyne family, who are French.
French, exactly.
So, not saying
that's
it
a good
was
point.
theirs, but yeah, kind of
Yeah.
neat.
So,
What do you got here, though?
well, in a mid-tone, digging just about everything at this point because, you know, it's coming up about a 1648, 1645, which tells me lead. We already found a round ball and a musket ball, so I'm kind of hopeful here. So let's see what we got. No, not there. Oh, right there. No, it's lead. Unfortunately, it's modern lead. That is one flat bullet. I'm going to guess by the size of it, that's probably a 32 caliber, which that 32 ACP shell that I found out here earlier, maybe they were target practicing, dropped around, and here's one of the ones that actually went bang. So, better than nothing.
Okay.
Hey, why don't you just stay there? I got something pretty good sounding in this clod. I mean,
Okay.
it's ringing up really high.
Okay.
You know, high like really good stuff, like potentially silver. So, I'm hoping it's not this. I'm looking at it right now.
Because that looks like a harmonica. Uh-oh. What do you got there?
I don't know. I think that's it. Let's see. That's it. So what is it?
So it's something probably nickel then.
Oh, it doesn't look it's going to be anything great. I don't know. I can't tell what it is. It's a piece of something. It must have been.
It's got to be nickel or something, nickel plated, chrome plated maybe.
Yeah, that's why it's probably ringing up so
like
high.
silver, yeah.
Boy, it sounded really good, but you know, there it is, people. That's the real stuff. When you think you got something really good, and it turns out to be pot metal, because it rings up just as high.
Wasn't a pull tab.
It wasn't a pull tab, but that'll go in the junk pouch because it's
You're gonna put that in your junk pile, or you want to put it in mine? Because my
dang.
there you go.
Okay.
A
So
lot of junk in there.
how about we do this? Why don't we go to maybe your favorite find from here? Would it be the coin?
No, you know what? I'm going to tell you what I think my favorite. Okay, yeah, that coin is really cool, but I think my favorite find from up here.
It's 1835.
We'll show that video here.
That was the oldest coin that I'd found to date. I found a lot older one later on, but I think the find I remember the most up here is the Civil War button, because it had A on it, an artillery button, which was phenomenal.
Can I tell you how much I appreciate you jumping off and not doing the coin, because I don't have that video primed. So talk for a minute here and I'll get that video going.
Sorry about that.
You had one job.
I know, but it's the find that I thought is the coolest.
All right. Give me a second. I got to find that video now.
Apparently the director should have discussed this with his subjects before assuming.
I like how you said subjects.
Yeah. All right. I think I have it. That was luckily a little bit quicker than I thought it was going to be. So I had all the videos primed and ready to go just in case. So let's see. Okay. So here is the artillery button from Bryan. Jerk.
Oh! Wait a second. Oh, check it out. It's a button. I mean, it's not a flat button. It's a two-piece button. You know, oh, it is so corroded on the top. I'm going to tell you what I think it might be. I can see what it is on top right now. This is a two-piece button, but it's a general service button. You can just barely make out the eagle on the front. That means it's Civil War. We already found a mini ball just on the other side of that tree, and you know what? Thinking about it, that 69 caliber ball that had the buck and ball impressions on it, it's probably Civil War related as well. Another Civil War find at the crematory. So possibly they were up here camping after coming up that long hill, that march out of town going south, coming up South Main Street. This would be the perfect spot to sit down, rest your men before heading on out. We'll have to clean it up, see what's on it. Sometimes inside that little shield there might be a marking for who knows what. But it's definitely general service. Maybe we can narrow it down a little bit more after some cleaning.
I thought we were going to kind of just do an ending, but we actually have another find from Rich that I have to show you, because Rich is notorious for finding nails, and he just happened to find a really big one. So we're going to do that. Then Brian's got something, and then we're just going to, we'll go ahead and have a quick ending. So let me turn around and we'll do Rich with his big nail. So what's it ring up for, like, Rich?
Well,
like a nail?
What was screwing me up was there was actually a piece of garbage aluminum in there too. Just something from the modern house around here. But I'll tell you what, like Clay said, I do find a lot of nails. But man, I'll tell you what, when I get them that big and they're cut nails, I mean, that's not really a nail as much as I think they would have called that a spike. So that definitely goes back to the time of the crematory. Because that is an old one. So, and, you know, I know everybody likes finding silver, but I like finding the history.
So let's go see what Bryan has, and then we'll call it for the night, I think.
Now, you know, I was digging a lot of low tones tonight, which, not low tones, what's called medium tones. Like anything from, for me, about 9 and 10 up, I've been digging. And this one rang in at a 12 and 13, 11, 12, 13. I was pretty sure it was a nickel, and I think that's what it is. You can see it right there. That's nickel sized. That's kind of nice to know that I kind of know my machine enough. Oh, ha! I got a buffalo nickel. That is awesome. Check it out. Right there it is. There's the Native American on one side. Let's flip it over. You should see the buffalo on the other. Pretty cool. Right there it is. Buffalo nickel. I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that, because a lot of times we don't find these because we pass over those midtones because we're out hunting a place, maybe we only get one attempt at it, and we're trying to get those higher tones. But I'm happy with this.
What's the age on that?
Well, let's see here. Let me see if I can find out. You're unfortunately, with these. Wait a second.
You want to come over? I don't know
Let me
what.
over there. Let me fill my hole and I'll be right over.
I don't know what that means, but
I don't either.
what are you so happy about?
Well, I just made Brian's buffalo nickel go the way of the eastern buffalo. It's now extinct as far as the best find today.
Well, this sounds good.
Y'all want to come over here, see this?
Okay, I'm coming.
I did not expect this here. Maybe I should have.
We tamp this down. Don't want to leave a big old hump here for when they hit it with a lawnmower. All right. Oh, what do you got? Something good? Am I going to be jealous?
It is possible.
Look at this right. Oh, I know what that is already.
Yeah. Look at that.
Oh.
Oh, and it's in gorgeous shape.
Oh. I'm jealous.
So for everyone watching,
I'm
That
jealous.
would be a crotal bell, or as most people call them, a sleigh. Wow, that's a weird one. Sleigh bell. Look at the shape of that, how it's got the... I've never seen one like that before.
hang on, hold it still for a second.
I'm trying to.
Are you? Turn it around. Let's see it. Spin it. Nice. Okay. So what's the? Why are you so excited about a chrono bell?
Well, first off, we're at a crematory. And again, I wouldn't have expected this here. That's still got the rivet on the end of it too. But maybe I should have, given all of the horse traffic coming up here.
Well, remember, this was, I mean, we're using it since the 1800s.
I'm sorry.
Ding-a-ling. I'm jealous on that one.
Brian is so white; he's just glowing in the light. We can hardly see him right now.
That's why I gotta wear a hat.
So I'm sorry, Rich. Don't want to.
That's okay. Me, on the other hand, I'm getting nice and burned because I have a Jeep with a top on it that comes off. And the wife and I were out driving around the other day, and I got burned.
Oh, that's cool.
It's riveted.
It's
It's
different.
riveted
yeah,
on.
It's a little different one than I've typically.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, sometimes they'll have a number right down around here.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping we'll get her cleaned up a little bit. And
Made in China.
oh, I know. Nice try.
So what do you think? Call it for the night. We good? I mean,
I don't think we're gonna find anything. I mean, there's always, you know what? There's always going to be more stuff out here. It just depends on how, like I said, you can come up after a hard rain. That rain gives you a little bit more depth, not as good separation, and you might find more. You might walk in a different way. There'll always be stuff here. It'll just get harder and harder to find as you hit it.
I don't see a date on the bottom of it or a maker's mark on it, so I would say that's probably on the other side of 1860.
Oh, that's cool.
Still.
so even though we didn't find anything amazing, we're still telling a story, right?
Yeah, we are. I mean, the stuff that we found tonight, those could be associated. Two things that might be associated with the crematory could be the chrono bell, definitely, and maybe the little escutcheon plate. But everything else that we found is going to be post when this was being a crematory. Probably more associated with more of the residential neighborhood that starts to spring up here.
And why do we? So Rich, we always we hit sites 4 or 5 times, and we've kind of hit this place, numerous times. We're not finding as good as stuff, but why do we keep coming back?
We've beat the living daylights out of this place. I mean, and we've pulled some really cool stuff out of here.
Right.
But, everybody likes finding the shiny silver, the gold coins, and Lord knows we do too.
We'd like to find a gold coin.
Well, yeah, you got gold up here, as I recall, not that long ago, so stick it in your ear. But everybody likes finding the shiny stuff, the real valuable stuff.
But I like relics.
How long have we been doing history, living history? Right,
25 years.
25, 26 years?
25 years.
So this isn't something that, that we just decided. I mean, the metal detecting, you've been doing it obviously a lot longer than me. But, it's about the history.
Right.
It's always going to be about the history.
About telling that tale. It's always about telling the tale. I mean, as you know, I know Clay is not much of a person that likes to talk for any length of time. He's usually very short on those. No, I'm just kidding. No, we like it. We love it. We're passionate about it, and we like telling those stories. And if we can find stuff up here that can add to those stories, we'll definitely be telling that. And I think Clay has done that recently in a couple of these episodes.
And I do want to say, just now that Rich stepped back up there, Rich is not as short as, I mean, he's short, but he's not as short as it looks. He was standing down in the ditch, so it made Brian look extremely tall. Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to hand this to Brian real quick. Here.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have left my heels in the Jeep.
So again, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Laid Back History and a Searchers episode. So I'm going to go ahead, and we will be posting this to the Searchers YouTube page and to our Searchers website and the in our Facebook page. So Brian's now shooting my chest, but thanks.
That's okay. It's live. That's what it's all about.
So,
The thoughts really crossed our mind a couple of times.
yeah, I know. So we will post this there, but thank you for tuning in to our first live dig as part of Searchers and another episode of Laid Back History. If you want to make a donation, you can do that by going to our Historical Society website page, wchspa.org, or go to our PayPal at paypal.me/WCHSPA. Thank you once again, and we'll see you next week.